Holy Word Chronicles. Today we embark on an extraordinary journey into the unknown, exploring the Vatican's knowledge of extraterrestrial life. Our quest will uncover historical evidence, actions taken by the Vatican, and the hidden truths that remain shrouded in secrecy. Did you know that the Vatican has an observatory dedicated to the search for extraterrestrial life? And that some researchers believe they are hiding crucial information from the public? Stay tuned as we reveal the facts behind these claims.
In 1891, Pope Leo XIII deliberately established a Vatican observatory. Astronomy was a field that the Vatican already had a really strong international reputation. And this was to show the world that the Church was not against science, and also to show the world that the Vatican was a nation with a national observatory. The reason we continue to have a Vatican observatory is to continue to remind the peoples in the pew that we are not anti-science, that the Church not only supports science, but the Church is mother of science in many ways, because science began in the universities.
The Vatican maintains extensive secret archives, which are only accessible to a select group of scholars. These archives are believed to contain documents related to UFOs and paranormal phenomena, but their selective access fuels speculation about what might be hidden.
At just over 100 acres, 8 Vatican cities could fit inside New York's Central Park. And although it's the smallest country in the world, behind its walls are history's most closely guarded secrets, the most coveted of which are held in the Vatican's secret archives. For centuries, the Vatican's secret vaults have been the subject of speculation and conspiracy theories. Some think it houses valuable artifacts stolen from Jerusalem during the Crusades. Others claim it contains documents indicating that the Vatican went easy on the Nazis. And novelist Dan Brown famously speculated that the archives might hold proof that Jesus Christ actually fathered a child. The secret archives are hidden in plain sight. The unmarked entrance is here, just off the staff parking lot next to the library. And directly beneath these parking spaces is a massive 2-story underground bunker. Here in the bunker are over 50 miles of shelves, centuries of closely guarded historic documents, the correspondence of royal families, papal letters, and top-secret memos, such as this rarely seen letter from the Civil War.
This letter is the letter of the President of the United States of America, Abraham Lincoln, to the Pope. It's dated 1863.
When he sent the letter, the Civil War was raging. Confederate soldiers had invaded the North. The Union had suffered more than 250,000 casualties.
In the same year, 1863, the Pope received another letter.
Its author, Jefferson Davis, President of the Confederate States of America.
The real intention of this letter probably is to have a recognition from the Pope of the Confederate State.
Surprisingly, a few months later, Pope Pius replied to the Confederate leader.
The Pope wrote back, calling Davis Presidi Federatarum Americae Regionum, that is to say, President of the Confederate State.
As a rule, the secret archives don't share any documents relating to a pope until 75 years after his death. Between the Pope's personal files that are still restricted and the thousands of documents yet to be uncovered, the world's historians are anxiously awaiting what other mysteries the archives will reveal.
The Vatican has historically controlled the disclosure of sensitive information. Many documents within the Vatican archives remain inaccessible or are released selectively, suggesting an effort to manage and possibly withhold knowledge about extraterrestrial life.
Most public evidence came in November of 2009. when the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, the Vatican Science Department, held a conference of over 30 scientists and religious leaders in Rome. The subject, life on other planets, its possibility, and its ramifications.
They're literally putting up a neon sign saying, "We're down with ETs."
But the biggest bombshell may be what they found underneath the Vatican. Coming up next, a repository of Vatican secrets that's existed for 500 years is opened up, and shocking new images could reveal the ultimate discovery, remains of an alien being. The Vatican has denied the existence of extraterrestrials since the creation of the Church. But recently, Vatican officials have publicly acknowledged the likelihood of alien life. This dramatic reversal of Vatican policy demands an explanation. What does the Church know? Or what have they found that causes them to reverse a 2,000-year-old opinion? The answer to this may be found within the Vatican Secret Archives.
It's thousands and thousands of volumes, and it's been kept for well over 1,000 years. This is bigger than the National Archives.
And according to alien theorists, it is here that the Vatican keeps reports of all investigated UFO occurrences, far from prying eyes.
The Vatican Secret Archive is approximately 52 miles of shelving, we're told, and over 32,000 archives.
What could possibly be in there?
1977, U.S. President Jimmy Carter is one of the only presidents ever to claim to have seen a UFO. Carter intends to publicly reveal all the information the U.S. government has on alien existence. He asks the Library of Congress to reach out to all possible sources regarding UFO intelligence. But when the library's contacts reach out to the Vatican requesting disclosure of all files with evidence of alien life, the Vatican refuses, twice. But the secrets hidden within the Vatican can't stay buried forever. Now, new evidence may prove the Vatican is hiding actual aliens from the public.
Here's a strange story. In 1998, there were excavations being done under the Vatican Library. And one of the workers on the excavation team found some strange skulls. They were elongated, extended skulls. They looked like what you would think a gray alien skull would look like.
The oversized, slanted eye sockets, the relatively small nose and mouth, the dome-like cranium. The similarities between its structure and the heads of the gray alien, the ET life form most commonly described by witnesses, are obvious. But why are skulls allegedly under the Vatican? If these bones could talk, what stories would they tell?
After the discovery of those strange skulls, Pope John Paul and the Vatican military closed all access to the site. What is the Vatican hiding? And did those skulls make their way into the secret Vatican archives?
The Catholic Church has had 1,500 years in which they could have recovered alien bodies from their investigations into unexplained sightings. Could these skulls be the remnants of aliens who once lived in the Vatican?
The Vatican is built on the ruins of ancient Rome. And underneath the Vatican is what's known as a necropolis. A necropolis is a vast burial ground. So there could be skulls dating back not just 2,000 years from the birth of Christ, but all the way dating back to the beginning of Rome.
Perhaps the conclusion was best put by a nun who stated, whatever those remains represent, there's a reason why the good fathers buried them there, to be forgotten. If the theories are true, then the Vatican has intimate knowledge of the secrets behind aliens on planet Earth. But do they ever plan to release that secret to the public?
The Church is getting ready, no doubt about it, to embrace life outside of planet Earth, off planet Earth, as part of creation.
Vatican officials often downplay or dismiss claims about UFOs or extraterrestrial artifacts in their archives, comparing serious inquiries to fictitious requests. This dismissive attitude contributes to the perception that the Vatican is not transparent about what it knows.
According to UFO theorists, Vatican officials have possessed knowledge of alien life for centuries. A claim so explosive and world-changing that generations of popes and cardinals have categorically denied the accusations. But what if the claims are true?
It's believed even to this day that not everything has been revealed.
I find that a lot of my friends who are believers are afraid to think about life in the universe because they're so confident of God creating them and giving them life. They don't know quite how to deal with the idea that maybe God gave life elsewhere to other creatures, bacteria or even intelligent creatures somewhere else. The problem is not in the science, is there life possible elsewhere, or even in the theology of could God create life elsewhere, but what does that mean to me? Life includes not only the chemistry, but you and I recognizing the chemistry and interacting with the chemistry. And only by finding life elsewhere in the universe will we really be able to fully understand what it means to be alive. Just the possibility there could be life on other planets. We haven't found it yet. We're looking for water and chemical traces on Mars that indicate maybe there could be life under the surface of Mars. What characteristics of an atmosphere would tell you that there was life?
What you're really looking for is the changes that life produces, as you say, in the atmosphere of a planet. At the beginning, it doesn't have oxygen. Oxygen, or very little oxygen, is something peculiar that life produces, at least life that we know it, that relies on carbon and the wonderful complexity that carbon can produce. So it's signatures of oxygen in the planet.
Have we found signatures of oxygen in any of these planets?
Not yet. Let's keep searching.
What about water?
Yes, we've found water, and so that's a
good first step.
That's a good first step, yes, because life as we know it just needs water. It needs liquid water, really.
What happens theologically when we discover that there is life on another planet? I don't even mean little green men, just chlorophyll, just plant life. Does that shake our understanding of our place in the universe? Would it shake your understanding of our place in the universe, our relationship to God?
It wouldn't, because in a sense the shaking has been happening, throughout, our human history, and certainly throughout late history. The scenario at the beginning was that, for us humans, we were the center. Our Earth were the center of everything. Everything else moves. Look up in the sky. Even the sun moves across the sky. We must be in the center. I don't feel I'm moving. You don't feel you're moving. We're at the center. And then gradually the revolution started, what's called the Copernican revolution, and our understanding that, no, it's actually the sun that's the stationary one in our planetary system, and the planets move around it.
Toruń, Poland, 1543. Nicholas Copernicus marks the beginning of modern astronomy, showing that Earth revolves around the sun, and not the other way around. 5 years later, Giordano Bruno is born in Naples, southern Italy. Bruno takes the theories of Copernicus further by suggesting that science dictates life on other planets.
Bruno's theory about the cosmos said that the people of Earth were not the only people in our universe. That didn't sit too well with the church.
In 1600, Bruno is found guilty of heresy and burned at the stake. He is the first person in history to be executed by the Catholic Church for beliefs that include the possibility of extraterrestrials. Was Bruno sacrificed to cover up a secret the Church has allegedly hidden for the past 1,500 years?
That church believed that we as humans, God made us the center of everything, and we were just kind of the be-all and end-all. But the reality was it was much bigger. There was much more out there.
In fact, possible ties between the Catholic faith and alien forms are nearly as old as the religion itself.
The Vatican has managed reports of supernatural and paranormal events throughout history, often reinterpreting them within a religious framework. This can obscure the original nature of the phenomena, including possible extraterrestrial encounters.
According to researchers, the Vatican Secret Archives holds hidden evidence connected to the miracle of Fatima. It was here in 1917 that 3 children claimed to have received messages from what some Catholic theologians believe was the Virgin Mary.
In Fatima, children saw an apparition they said was the Virgin Mary. And 70,000 people came to this same sheep pasture. And people said that they saw a spinning silver disc. The Catholic Church, for a very long time, would not acknowledge what was happening with the children or Fatima.
The extraterrestrials give to the children a telepathic message saying you are not alone on this planet. We are here. We have been here some thousands of years ago. We observe you. Please prepare mankind that we will return again. All this story of Fatima went to the Vatican.
But is it possible, as ancient astronaut theorists contend, that the Catholic Church censored the messages that were received in Fatima?
The kids were given 3 messages, and the Pope refused to release the 3rd message. The 3rd message apparently talks about extraterrestrial life. Now that is sensational, because to me, to deny the revelation of that particular message, and that is exactly what the Pope did. And I wonder why.
Some contend that the miracle of Fatima is one of many events that describe visitations from extraterrestrial messengers. Researchers also point to the voices described by Joan of Arc, visions received in Lourdes by Bernadette Soubirous, and countless stories depicted in the Hebrew Bible, in which similar events are described. Perhaps the Vatican knows far more about life in the universe than they have acknowledged. But does a belief in alien life question the omnipotence of a supreme being?
Of course, the Vatican knows about extraterrestrial life, but to suggest that because extraterrestrials exist, that means there is no God is total nonsense.
Throughout history, there have been suspicions and accusations that the Vatican has curated the biblical texts, removing verses in books that spoke about advanced beings or extraterrestrials. This selective editing is believed by some to have been a strategy to consolidate power and control over the masses. To maintain their influence, the Vatican orchestrated various inquisitions and crusades, leading to the persecution and death of millions over the centuries. These actions were often justified as protecting the faith, but also served to eliminate dissent and suppress knowledge that could challenge the Church's authority.
In the archives at the Vatican, first of all, it's about 5 miles of archives underground and very, very secure access. In other words, you can't just go, oh, I'm going to go check out the archives underground. No, you have to be a security cleared, almost top secret cleared based on their standards to get down there. But they have in there so many incredible discoveries, so much knowledge and wisdom that have been stolen, literally stolen from all around the world. And of course, the Library of Alexandria, that was a book heist. The fire was a distraction. There was a knowledge theft. They stole the knowledge. They left a few books burning here and then they burned it down to the ground. But the vast majority of the knowledge and wisdom stored at Alexandria was siphoned off and taken to that underground, I call it an underground base at the Vatican. Down there also, according to even some Jesuits, are bones of actual alien beings, information about advanced beings that visited this planet, the Anunnaki, according to the Dogon, the Nomo, and the Sumerians, call them the Pantheon, call them the Anunnaki Pantheon out of Sumeria. They call them Nitiru out of Africa. They have all these relics and artifacts of these particular people, even out of Greece. They have all this down there. They have information even out of Iraq that shows and proves that advanced races had lived on this planet long before this current civilization here exists. I'm talking about eons and eons ago, super highly advanced with technologies and capabilities of flight and everything else, weapons of war that existed. All that information is stored underneath the Vatican archives, along with some of the most incredible texts and books and inventions that ever existed on this planet. And they siphon it away, and they're hoarding all of that wisdom and knowledge so that they can keep control and power and domination over the world. And guess what? It's working. You know, if the public knew that long before Jesus and all these people, that thousands of years before them, an advanced race lived on this planet, built an Atlantean global civilization, probably Atlantean interplanetary civilization that had capability of space flight and everything else, and that they most likely genetically modified the existing hominids, which then became Homo sapiens sapien, in order to put us all enslaved free and make us do the workload for them. If they knew that, those stories and those tales from the Sumerian tablets, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian Vedas, Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of Going Forth by Day, aka the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Enuma Elish and the Seven Tablets of Creation, all these texts predominantly made up the majority of the Bible. We would be like, well, what are you guys preaching to us? This is all fake. This is all lies. And we know that in the Emerald Tablets, you know, which have book compendium of the Emerald Tablets, that the majority of Jesus' teachings in the New Testament come directly from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which are 38,000-year-old teachings. So they must control and hide and secure evidence of this information and this knowledge to keep people basically in this level of ignorance where they can continue to control them and steal their money. They added to the story. They took from a lot of ancient texts and tablets, and then they kind of curated this book, which they want to call it a canonized Bible, right? So they took from there this tablet, that tablet, this scripture, that papyrus, this Nag Hammadi piece. We like this coming out of this text over here. And then they kind of just culminated together and then remixed it, put their own spin on it, and make sure that slavery was approved and okay. And then so you had that, and then of course we want to collect a lot of money, so they have to pay us. We got to make sure we got the money. You got to pay, you know what I'm saying? And you got to do the labor, and you got to bring the offerings, because we ourselves are not going to go out and hunt and grow farms and everything else. So you guys, you're going to have to bring these offerings to us and bring us your first harvest, because we want the freshest fruit and the freshest vegetables. We don't want the stale stuff. And so people would come down and bring everything to the church and give it all away, along with whatever money they had left. And these people would live like fat cats, literally, off of pimping the knowledge and understanding of what's going on and tricking people into believing that they had some access to divine power and knowledge, when the ignorance of the people, you know, you almost can't blame them, but yet at the same time, it's like, how can so many masses of people stand up and fall for this? But it happens. But also, you got to remember the way that they went around, the way that the Council of Nicaea put this in place with Rome. And Rome said, we're now going to dominate the planet with this religion. So they combined their beliefs with the Christianity, all right, because they felt like keeping it separate was creating too much anger between the two sides, and everybody wanted to go head to head. So, we're going to combine it. We'll add our stuff in with their stuff, and we'll make it a national religion. But now, here's the trick. As Rome was on its global escapade trying to dominate and take over the planet, everywhere they went, they would then instill and install this Christianity, this Catholic Christianity in those areas. But this is how they did it. People believed that Christianity was spread by love and the good news, and no. It was spread by rape, bloodshed, murdering, and killing. They literally would take your women and your children. They would take the leader of that village or whatever. They would show, like, you guys are going to bow down to us. You're going to follow this religion. You're going to speak our language. And they'll make an example out of somebody, and then everybody else would follow suit. And if they didn't, then they would say, okay, we're going to give you a lot of these torture devices. They would have the Pope's spear, all right, which is still in the museums right now. They would have this triangular pyramid with a spire on top. They would reel a man up and down and let it go up into his back door over and over again until he died. And then all these torture mechanisms, they tortured and killed over 80 million people over the course of 700 years under the order of the popes, in order to spread love and peace and Christianity, all with the authority of Rome. So this global conquest to spread this and collect money was all done by bloodshed and torture, not by love and peace. Even the depiction of Jesus switched over to the face that became the global popular face. That was actually Caesar Borgia, who was actually one of the sons of an actual pope and killed his own brother to try to take his place. This guy was just an evil, brutal, killing ruler. His father commissioned the artist to paint his image as the image of Jesus, and that image still propagates the planet till this very day. And so the image that a lot of people are praying to is not the Jesus that they think it is, but actually a natural-born killer. It's great marketing, great propaganda, subliminal information, subliminal messages and teachings, and that it just gets burnt into the genome, and it passes on from generation to generation.
In conclusion, the Vatican's involvement in the search for extraterrestrial life is a fascinating blend of history, science, and faith. While they prepare the public for potential discoveries, much remains shrouded in mystery. We invite you to share your thoughts and join the discussion. What do you think about the Vatican's role in this cosmic quest? Leave your comments below, and let's continue exploring these intriguing possibilities together. Stay tuned for more exciting content. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Until next time, this is Holy Word Chronicles, where ancient wisdom meets modern lives.